Hello, everybody. Let's exit the port. Good evening, Grumbles.
Good evening, Mr. Tiger.
It is currently 2024 on the 30th of August, and because Grumbles had an insight of genius, this episode will be called Just in Time, because we are still keeping with being able to put out one episode a month. What happened to August?
I don't know. I've got a suspicion that some elves may have snuck in under the cover of dark, dressed as trees. Nobody spotted them in time. They stole it and ran off with it.
Well, I mean, like it disappeared.
It did.
In an instant. I have no idea where this month went, but it just disappeared.
I think SubTember was eager to get going, so it cast a level 9 pass without trace on August. And that's why none of us know where August went. See what I did there?
Good, could be. I like it. I like it. I'm on board with this. Right. We have a whole slew of topics. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can see all the topics there. We'll be covering a bit about the, well, hopefully we'll be covering all of this. Who knows? We might be using a lot of time on some of the others, so let's see. But these are the tentative topics. For those of you listening through Buzzsprout or any of the other places where you can get it, you should be able to see a list in the description if it carries over. And without further ado, I feel like it's just, yeah, we should just jump straight into it and address the elephant in the room. Calm down there. No, there's been a lot going on in the worships community, of course. I'm going to make my chair creak. Sorry. There's been a lot going on. And we're talking both for good and mainly for bad. Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
80-20 rule. Yeah.
Something like that. So, at the end of July, I entered the CC program. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in hopes that something big would come out of this. Oh, boy, was I right.
You could say you made a splash.
Yeah, well, I not so much me as whatever went on in the worships community at that time.
Oh, you're not claiming credit for it.
No.
Okay.
By no means am I claiming credit for any of this. I mean, it's just, oh, my God. So, for those who do not know, there's been a whole lot of things going on with the community contributor program for World of Warships because of the actions of wargaming. It's way too much to touch on everything that has happened, but in short, because of the treatment of certain CCs, Little White Mouse and others, over a long period of time where they have put in plenty of work and been promised certain things and then just completely overlooked when delivery, like when push comes to shove and delivery is supposed to be made, nothing. And then there's the whole debacle of the Missouri. There's the whole thing with the Missouri is gambling boxes, but there's so much going on, which made a lot of CCs quit.
Yep.
And I completely understand them. I was contacted through DMs in the background asking if I would be leaving too. And I chose to say no, because for me it's a business decision, and for me the relationship with wargaming is I get free shit to give to my community. I have no thoughts of changing wargaming or anything, but I do think a lot of the old ones that have left had the idea and has had the opportunity to change things, but no longer being listened to and got tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this then led us on to whatever else is going on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So I think that for me, there's a distinct difference between people very, very fresh and new on the scene. I think your particular example where you've gone into it under no illusions after a lot of deliberation and heartfelt consideration about all the pros and cons. And I think it's totally valid, having walked in. Literally, you just walked in and smacked your nose on the door walking through the entrance because the revolving door is spinning so fast with all the people rushing out the other way. And I think that, as you stated, when people are under no illusions and they're not being disingenuous about what the CC program is and what it isn't, or let's give it its real, the name that, if we were honest, we would call it the Wargaming Free Shit to give away program. Sorry, just to cut to the chase. I think that as long as you're not fooling yourself, or perhaps worse, trying to fool other people, that it is more than what it is, then then you know what you're in for. I think that the company's practices and their, this move to, again, if they had an honest rebranding to War Gambling, that's it's tough and quite, but you're right, sticking to the CC part of it. I think that it was more about the degradation, if you will, of the program over time for the long-standing members, and this apparent, it's not alleged, but I think it's apparent and visible. There's obviously a problem of respect, or lack of respect in certain corners. In some cases, I'm sure, it always takes two to tango. But in a lot of cases, there seems to be many people from the player base, CCs as we call them, but at the end of the day, they're players, who have, consistently and repeatedly cited cases of disrespect and so forth, in whether it's their feedback not being taken on board, the work and effort they've put in not being taken seriously or utilized the way it was expected, whether it was the fabled miscommunication events or whatever. But there's, they say no smoke without fire. I think I referred to an old friend of mine and colleague from many, many, many years ago when I was a lot younger and even more naive than I still am. But he said, if two people don't get along, maybe they're both being, Muppets. He used more colorful language than that, right?
That is beautiful.
Yeah, but, if there's like 10 people and this other one person, and the 10 people think that one person's being a Muppet a lot of the time, there's usually something to it, right? So you can put your own colorful language in there. So I think that there's definitely an underlying issue. We know that there are underlying issues, not least with that program. And for me personally, the whole gambling, the loot boxes, whatever you want to call it, coupled with the age rating of the game was the much more serious thing that isn't brand new, but certainly became a lot clearer. And for someone like me who's a bit naive or sometimes ignorant of certain aspects of things, or haven't looked at it from a certain perspective, it one of the things that came out of this whole exodus and debacle was Charade Gaming, thankfully putting together a very heartfelt and well considered and well structured YouTube video expressing her thoughts, opinions, and her position on the topic. And one of the things she spoke most emotionally and openly about was the topic of gambling and what that can mean and how that can influence people, whether you're realizing it or not. And it really made me think long and hard about my experiences with the game and where I see it going, and what I think about that in the context of the ratings of the game, which are currently PEGI 7, I believe, for EU.
Correct.
And ESRB North America rating of T for teen. And I don't think that's appropriate, because I think the way the content has been managed and pushed, a lot of the tech tree free-to-play content that's been marketed to people in these gambling boxes and these loot boxes is I've never liked that. I've always spoken very clearly on the matter. And now it's all just come to a head because the Missouri was effectively a very, very large, however many hundreds of thousands of tons straw that broke the poor camel's back. And so a lot of people made a stand over that. So I think you bundle a few of these different things together. And obviously the exodus occurred because of solidarity and people quite rightly are choosing to stand up and support people and support that movement. And those that remain behind, again, as long as they have their eyes open, I think that anybody who arrived at the last minute, I know it's you and we're friends, but I think it's reasonable and objective enough to say, what could you do about it? Nothing.
No.
And yeah, I think that's where we've got to right now. So, I've put my complaint filings in with the ratings boards respectively, stating, in a polite and structured way how I think that should be adjusted. And I would say people have to make their own informed decisions, whether they do likewise. I saw today, I haven't looked at all the detail, but I saw a couple of posts alluding to the fact that certain people speaking on behalf of Wargaming are saying that they're looking at the ratings of their game already. We'll say in air quotes, proactively.
Mm-hmm.
And that perhaps they're considering applying for different ratings of their own accord.
They should.
Probably before they get a complaint anyway and a ruling.
Yeah. We will be, I will be talking, well, we have topics that will touch on that, but I want to go a bit back to this about CCs. I'm all for people standing up and showing their case, but in this case, I'm not sure what kind of effect it'll have. I wish it would have a massive effect and make Wargaming go, hey, crap, we really screwed up, but I don't think it'll have that effect. I honestly think that these CCs would have more effect on the community if they stayed in the program, but ultimately that's their decision, and I fully 110% support that. Like I do. Like it's yeah. It's one of those subjects.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject of gambling boxes, we're quickly going to say never buy them. I'm a CC and I do not want you to buy these at all.
Yeah.
Never.
He's a CC and he does not approve of these box messages.
I do not. Fuck these boxes. Fuck gambling. Like, let us buy stuff. And I've said that before I became a CC. I've said that in any sort of game. Let us buy stuff directly. None of this other bullshit. Speaking of bullshit, there's another thing that's been going on with this. Yes. And Wargaming have had their issues of miscommunication and lack of miscommunication and lack of apologizing because they're a big Russian company and they usually don't roll over and act nice. But I want to kind of go out here and ask of the player base, whenever you see an actual attempt from Wargaming to say, okay, you know what, we did goof, and very specifically right now I'm talking about the code, like the initial code that was given on the Russian servers, on the Russian stream for that contained the message that was not very nice towards Turi, one of their ex-CCs. And Wargaming said, okay, you know what? We're going to find out what happened here. Was this actually a random code or was it not? And they came back and said, no, this was not a random code. This was one code made by somebody disgruntled that had beef with Turi or whatever. And then they have suspended and they they are sorry for what happened and everything, and they issued an apology, and I looked at this apology, I looked at this, and I went, okay, this looks genuine, okay, and I'm thinking, good wargaming. Let's keep this up. And in that, like, I feel like let's have positive reinforcement for both this big company and for the players, instead of what's happening now, where people are going, yeah, sure they're being fired, sure it's been whatever, you knew that all along, you know. It's just this perpetuating of this negative trend. How about we start building each other up in a positive way? When somebody does something good that you like, reward them for that. And this kind of goes back to this whole gambling thing and speaking with your wallet, because they are a company, let's be fair.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can get them to do what you want is by speaking with your wallet. So if you don't like what they do, don't buy their shit. If you like what they do, buy their shit. You know, if you like the Lenin, buy the Lenin. Well, I mean, the Lenin is no longer for sale, but you get what I mean. Speak with your wallet when it comes to a company. Because you feel like, okay, they've done something right there, but let's speak against other things. But in this case, can we, you know, stop just negatively reinforcing everything and always being a source for chaos? Because there's so many of these CCs that I look up to. I almost said used to look up to. I know I still look up to them because of the amount of work they have put in. But now they're just stirring the pot, and then it makes me sad, because I really do feel like something good can come from this if we show some mutual respect, and I guess that's part of why this all stemmed out. So
yeah, I think there's I mean, I'm not going to comment too much on the Tari one. I echo your sentiments. I agree with you. I think you know, the simple fact is that if you can be respectful, even if you miscommunicate or whatever, or not a communication expert, whatever. I think there's a whole bunch of things that play into this. Right, a lot of it. There's obviously the emotional aspect, that people are pretty upset, and rightly so in most cases. Then there's the way, you know, there's the it's not the right adage, but it's like the sex sells. It's like the chaos and the turbulence, and you can make you can gain a lot of support, shall we say, by jumping on the bandwagon and being sort of part of that and perpetuating it. And some people, you know, may or may not need that. Other people are clearly, you know, milking it for what it's worth, and you know, and that's the way press works. You know, bad news sells, whatever the expressions would be. I think that I agree with you entirely about the respectful thing. I think that just the fact that wargaming, even if it's one rogue, you know, then you've got to ask questions about due diligence and checks and balances and who's authorized to do. You know, they're obviously going to review all those things. They do suffer that aspect of. So there's two aspects. One is right off the back of everything else. Brilliant timing. You couldn't have asked for that to go more horribly wrong to get that, you know. So that's one thing. The other thing is, you know, it's still a company, and you know, and business is people don't. Well, I guess sometimes you see it, but a lot of people don't necessarily see it or don't think of it this way, because it's like public and you know, an internet game and blah blah. Everybody kind of thinks, well, I've got this right to, you know, I pay my premium time. I've got this right to tell them how they should run their company and all the other, you know, so everyone gets up on their high horses. And it's like, well, that isn't really true. But there is the aspect to it, which is, or more to the point, what's really going to make a difference? And you mentioned the wallet aspect to it. I think that's true. I think that one of the biggest problems, though, is that, you know, a company that's going so hard for growth and bringing new player base in and whatever, those are that's what they're marketing towards, right? The people that are not burned out. I think Jingles and a few others have covered this very well, very succinctly. At the end of the day, it won't make that much of a difference, you know, what the beleaguered, long-standing community, because most of us have already spent our money.
We have.
So,
We have.
or the majority of the money we're going to put into it, you can still make a dent in it. I think that what will make a difference will be things that affect the public image and brand of wargaming. So things like appearing in more and more news articles about the whole debacle, things like complaints going into the ratings boards that have to be taken seriously. The fact that if they change their rating, they won't be able to market their game to children and teenagers.
Exactly.
So that's a huge source of revenue potentially for them, because it obviously won't be the kids' wallets. It'll be their parents or whatnot, but that's a huge. I mean, who doesn't know about the simplistic aspects of marketing in the sense of why a toy company is successful and all the rest of it? Because they have access to parents' heartstrings as much as their wallets.
Exactly.
Because everybody wants the new cuddly toy or whatever from the Disney movie. So, so all those things said, I think that and it's the same with the CC program. That's not going to make the difference. What's going to make the difference will be things that get in the public eye. And things that affect their revenue streams in a more serious way, like not being able to bring as many players in, and therefore losing access to all that new money that would be flowing into the game. So, yeah, that's where it is. One thing I'd like to tack on, and I know we both feel very strongly about this. There have been incidents of whether CC related or not, but specifically TC Freer as an example.
Yeah.
One of the loveliest people in this gaming space and the Twitch space that you'll ever meet, and if you're lucky enough to have the pleasure to hang out and enjoy the company of, and he receiving like threats and horrible toxicity from the player base. I'm sorry, but no.
That's just not
those
cricket.
people are, have words with yourselves. Think about how you would feel in that situation, and to borrow a hashtag that's trendy and will come up later in the podcast, do better.
Yeah.
Hashtag player base do better. So I posted an image on Twitter the other day along these lines of a couple of sheep that I nicknamed Gneisnow and Scharnhorst. And Scharnhorst is saying form your own opinions, and Gneisnow is retorting with, yeah, what that guy said, just to double down on the joke and the fact that they're sheep. So go and look at look at that image if you need a hint about what I'm talking about. So inform yourselves, form your own opinions. Please try not to be blind sheep. We all follow into the one extent or the other, but please above all else, be respectful and considerate in how you express yourselves, and just don't turn into a cyberbully by accident, or it's not good for you. It's toxic for yourself, and it's obviously horrible towards the people you're victimizing. So leave it out.
Yeah, I received my part of it, and I just kind of shrugged it off. But I got, like, when I heard like the way TC reacted to it, I was like, why are you doing this to this man who has done nothing but provide entertainment? Like, he's never been one to be angry and yell and curse on a stream. No, he's always a nice guy, and I really want to have him as a guest on the podcast one day. So I'll reach out to him. But you mentioned the changing of the rating and changing of revenue streams and such for wargaming, and I think one thing that is going to be paramount for them to get out ahead of is if more and more countries start banning loot boxes and gambling boxes. Belgium has done it now, and I know there are a couple of other countries in Europe now that has done it, and more countries are starting to look into it. And one thing we've always said, and we've already mentioned it, is the way they earn money in wargaming. They need to get ahead of this, because if they are behind the curve from the law changes, then suddenly they start doing things differently, then that's going to be another shitstorm. However, if they get out ahead of this and they say, okay, you know what? Let's do better. Let's start selling things directly. Let's do actual microtransactions. Let's remodel so that we go for stuff like cosmetics, like meaningless cosmetics, a cool sticker, a dingly bit you can have at the end of your cannon or whatever, something like that you can sell that provides a way that you as a player can customize your ship, but also is so easily and quickly made. Like, you have the art department that we already know do so amazing work. One of the things I just want to bring up, Wargaming. Holy shit, the lacquer camo for the Hayate. Oh, it's so nice. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that one. No, I haven't. No.
Dude, it's so nice. You need to look it up. But like, it's black with golden trim and some red accents. It's so nice. So you have the art department that just keeps knocking the ball out of the park and away across the parking lot and into the next football field that is nearby said ball lot. They just keep doing that. Use them in a good way where you can make all of these things and then kind of slowly sell them bit by bit. That way, you've used the dev time of it in a good way, and you draw in the revenue stream for this over a long time. And let's say you do seasonal items, and like Rainbow Six Siege has this. They have seasonal items and skins and such for your operators. Okay, let's start doing something similar in warships. I don't know, but main point being, Wargaming really need to change their shit quickly, with how they communicate, with how they monetize, with everything. And if they don't get ahead of the curve, I hate to use these words, but I think that might be the last nail in the coffin. Well, it's not going to be that. Let's be fair. The game is going to go on, but I think they're going to lose too much if they don't get out ahead of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last thing I would add on this, and then we can move on, would be, people will always talk about this thing's going to kill the game, that thing, whatever, because there's partly because it buys into the whole negative press, and it's all exciting to be part of that. Oh, and I told you so, and whatever, right? But the bottom line is the only people that can really kill the game are Wargaming themselves. They're making a pretty good effort at it. They've enlisted now some additional support from significant elements of the player base, and they've also enlisted the support of the ratings boards and also the legal jurisdictions. So we shall see. But now's their chance to adapt and overcome, or just suffer a horrible fate that none of us want. And again, it would be a pity because we'll lose a great piece of art. It's a wonderful video game that we're all addicted to and love to bits. But every nothing lasts forever, I suppose, is the way to put it.
So Blizzard was trying to be the world's worst company for a while, taking over after EA, and I think Wargaming went, hold my beer.
Yeah, well, I think it's just because there's so much money in these loot boxes, and whoever's making the decisions, whoever's pulling the string. I mean, I didn't really want to go in this direction because I haven't researched enough, but I did watch a very fascinating video about there are real life legal investigations into the company going on as well, right? So I'm not going to go into that at all because I don't think it's appropriate content, and I don't think we know enough, and I don't want to say something that's going to be like, I don't know, defamating or whatever the word is. So let's just leave it at that. But like, there's even more serious stuff, and so they need to change their practices, because what won't help, as I said, the one thing that could kill it would be is if they persist in this attitude, which at least ostensibly looks like we don't really care about this anymore. It's ours, and if we want to kill it, we'll kill it. That on top of all these other topics will lead to its downfall. and none of us want that, and they shouldn't want it unless they really have given up on it.
If they had given up on that, I do think we'd seen a change a long time ago.
You would think so, yeah.
One of the things we've recently seen introduced into the game is, of course, the submarines. I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, because we kind of talked about the road forward communication additions and so on. But like it feels like a natural segue to kind of talk about subs, as we're also talking about the downfall of the game. And I don't mean that subs are the downfall of the game at all. But honestly, if Wargaming had given up on their own title of World of Warships, I think we would have seen subs in a completely different way. We wouldn't have seen them carefully, and I mean super carefully, entered into testing. Compare the way subs are being introduced as to how the CV rework was introduced. Subs, first PTS, multiple iterations of PTS, and then into co-op, and then into small-scale battles with ranked, right? Okay. Just long iteration of testing. And whereas CV rework was, hey, we did this, bam, here you go, into random battles and everything, and everybody's like, well, hold on, what happened? where why? And you know, it was that chaos mentality that just kind of went on in the players' minds and everything. And honestly, I it feels to me, with the way they're introducing this is not to appease the player base with, yeah, so we're gonna carefully introduce and do lots of testing. No, this feels to me like there's devs going, no, we can't do this. It won't fit in the game. It won't have a good space in the game. But there's some project manager that goes, listen, we've spent way too much money on this to not put it in the game. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, as a certified project manager, if you ever come to that point, you are also fully allowed to say, you know what? No, we're terminating this project. If the devs say, no, this won't fit, this is not good, we should terminate it. Listen to your devs, because this is what it feels like. That somebody's going, no, please don't do this. Please, let's not do this. But there's some money bags guy up top going, nope, put it in. Get it in. Just force it in there. Like, no.
Well, I think that is the crux of the problem, but I think there's two sides to it. I think that there's the one aspect of it is the cost, which I think there's a big overlap there. Probably some lessons learned, and probably some others that they just repeated, or that's the way it happens a lot in you know, all sizes of enterprises. But funnily enough, the bigger and more successful, you tend to make more of these kind of mistakes. There's a lot of layers in corporations and decision trees and all sorts of things, and it you know, these things shouldn't happen, but I've spent far too long in big companies all my working life to be unrealistic about that. It just does happen. I think that the two sides to it are, one, the costs that they, you know, what they've invested in it so far, which is similar to the CV rework. But two, I think one of the things they learned from the CV rework was, I think they learned lessons. This is not necessarily a good thing, but I think they learned lessons about access to all that new money, how to attract more people in, how to re-attract people back to the game that maybe haven't spent a lot for a while or even in the past, and bring them in and pique their interest and give them something that is different and that basically gets them to put in the secret combination to their wallet and open it for them. And I think they learn lessons, and that's one of the reasons why so much significant change is being made in the context of the subs, like the secondaries being adjusted, right? There's a good side to that, and there's a neutral side to it, which is the bit about the timing and stuff and the build up so that subs don't get nuked as soon as they pop up next to a Massachusetts. They're like the changes to the CV strike aircraft, yeah, and so you can see how deeply and broadly this all goes interplays into the game, and then all the marketing and everything else between the loot box and the new content that they can market from, because there'll be premium subs, you know, and so forth, and maybe some other ships that have whatever aspects to deal with them or counter them. And I think that, you know, so some of the lessons they learned were like, how can we get the maximum amount of revenue leading to profit out of these things, out of these changes? And I think that's one of the reasons why they're to some extent taking their time, is because they want to bring it in with maximum, you know, positivity and marketability. They're very good at marketing their product. They do these fantastic like videos and trailers and stuff. There's quite stunning stuff. And again, that's the stuff that you know, that the long-standing player base and the CCs and that can't really affect, because even streamers can't affect, because a lot of the player base are not even you know, within that sort of demographic or within those statistics. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. I agree. I think it's good to see it being eased in. I think that will instantly annoy or inflame all the people that, in my humble opinion, foolishly consider ranked to be an actual competitive mode within the game.
Yeah.
It isn't. It's just mini randoms with steel. So play for your steel. Don't play for showing off or whatever else. Because best case, you're just good at an arcade game.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I think that's, but you know, I think that pretty much sums up the subs. I think that subs they're such a weird bit of content. They're kind of hilarious when you're in the thick of the action, and some of the dullest, you may as well literally, you will get more entertainment playing Lawnmower Simulator when there's nothing going on in the game. And I'm not having a dig at Lawnmower Simulator. It's probably quite therapeutic.
Quick interjection. I really want to play that game.
I actually want to play that game like with you or with others together. Just be shouting, "Hey, stop mowing! You don't mow another guy's lawn." I think we can get that joke in there many times.
God, yes.
So, yeah, I think that they have a problem with making subs feel intrinsically attached to the game, the same way as their CVs before the rework were completely detached and a mini game within the game that a lot of people hated. Most people hated, and some liked a lot. And you know, the CVs got into a lot better space. They're kind of in their best place now that they've been for a while, but still really hated by a lot of the player base for various reasons, most of them valid. You know, even if they're handled toxically. And subs will be another niche. Ultimately, I think that we've talked about this in the past, and I've talked about it on streams a lot. One of the bigger challenges is it's great having all these new people coming in, and if they're getting the money and that's all they're looking at, but this comes deeper than that into do they care enough about their product and where's their product going? Because that new player base, these players are not coming in, and on the whole, based on what I've seen in the last couple of years playing on NA in particular, I'm not singling NA out, I'm just saying that's where I've been living. These players are not coming in and getting average and then slowly improving over time. These players are coming in and playing, for the most part, well below average statistically. Doesn't mean they're not having fun, and I'm not having a dig at them. But the worrying thing is they're not seemingly, it's, you know, doesn't look like it improves over time because of both the lack of the sort of nurturing and explanation within the game. They've done their videos and things and that, but I think there needs to be more in the game to guide people into helping them improve over time. And yeah, they're just kind of taking people's money, I guess, and saying, well, the player base does whatever it wants. To an extent, you can't really control that. People do what they want with their product. You know, if you want to buy a Lamborghini and drive it into a lamppost, well, that's what you'll do. So, you know, I think there isn't an easy answer for them, but I do think that they could be doing more to guide people through the game. And I think that, you know, maybe the convoy content that's coming, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, But it sounds like a lot of people are quite enjoying that, and that maybe that's going to be something that helps to foster this kind of, more of a positive, more of a cooperative teamwork, dare I say it. But yeah, I think also they should probably have a look around, and they have to be careful of not copycatting, but playing War Thunder recently in the naval, and just seeing all these awards popping up on the screen for, hey, you assisted in a kill, hey, you did teamwork, you've got a 3 streak in teamwork kills with people because you and your buddy were hanging out and the capping together and killing shit. I was like a little kid in a candy store. I was
exactly.
Like, what? You're actually awarding me? Yeah. So and it was giving me meaningful content, like giving me extra credits and stuff and XP.
Exactly.
And I was like, wow, this is really cool. So wargaming,
rewarding you for doing your job.
Yeah, you need to have a little look at that and think, about your decisions, like taking away awards of flags. And I know there's counters to that, but I think that that's one of the things. Like, on top of the CC program, they need to trying to link this to the subs and generally the new content and the overload of content that's coming through, of content saturation. They need to think about how is that actually helping the player base to get the maximum amount of fun. And you can't fob that off and say, well, it's not up to us. No, it is up to you. It's
that's exactly what it's up to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's in the same way as the Lamborghini people can't just say, well, in 1978, we made this really stellar, so we're just going to carry on. And if you want the newest model, it's behind a loot box. No, I mean, they keep pushing themselves, and they want to see happy customers, and they want to, whatever. So I think that happy customers is intrinsic for me to the longevity and the great success of companies in this modern era. And that's where wargaming are missing out really badly, is they're not thinking about the decisions they make and the content they produce.
No, exactly.
They're not analyzing it in terms of how much fun it's bringing to people.
Speaking of changing, and not just sticking with the good old recipe, let's bring up another company that has made some changes to get their product out there. It is one of the world's biggest companies ever. It's Coca-Cola. Yes. How would the world look today if Coca-Cola didn't change their initial recipe?
I know the answer to this one. Thinner.
Yeah, exactly. But not in a good way. and that, I feel, is one of the main things that you can take away from this. If a company like Coca-Cola that has done a big change, and let's be fair, they could easily just keep selling nothing but Coca-Cola to the world right now. They wouldn't have to do anything, and they'd have happy customers, right? But they keep making changes, and they keep changing things in a good way, and then you go, okay, people like this, let's go for this. That's basically what all businesses need to do, and let's hope wargaming can get on board with that. And subs, I'm kind of looking forward to when they come to ranked. No, not random, randoms, because I think they could have something to do there. Like, it's gonna be interesting to see how they play out with more people in a game than just ranked. But I know people have had a lot of fun with them in ranked. That should be said. But we'll see. Like, there's a specialized DD. However, one change. Anecdote. We talked about convoy mode long time ago. I feel like we should have royalties. Anyway, good change that I feel we should applaud wargaming. They brought back secondaries.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing back secondaries. I've had so much fun in my favorite warships again. In the Massachusetts, in the Georgia, in the Ohio, the Bourgogne, and all of these ships that that have kind of been left on the shelf for a long time because of the change to secondaries.
Mm-hmm.
But because, well, you kind of fired secondaries out there and they went, and there's no effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went, yeah, whatever, secondaries. Might as well remove that now. Might as well not have them. But now, with this latest change, where the longer you stay focused on a ship with your secondaries, the more efficient they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm loving it. There are also a couple of other changes that I feel we must talk about. There is a certain change to one of the skills. I can't remember what it's called. Captain skill. 3 points for battleships. So the more you tank for, the quicker you get your heal back. Loving that. There's also another change there where they've made one called Furious. The more fires you have on you, the quicker you reload your main battery and secondaries. That one's also cool. It's starting to become more of this, okay, how do you want to play your battleship again? And we've mentioned this, the changes that make you feel like you have an active choice in how you play. Because I now see both brawlers, I see mid-range tankers, but I also see long-range snipers. I see the 3 different groups in battleships now. And I'm loving it. This is a good change, Wargaming. Keep these sorts of changes up.
Yep.
Leave battleships for now.
So there you go. You heard it here, folks. Tiger's Den pointing out to Wargaming that they clearly made a mistake. That will be patched out in a couple of months' time. Don't worry about it. No, but all jokes aside, it is wonderful to have some purpose to secondary battleship life again. I think that a lot of people that we know in our circles are enjoying it a lot more. I certainly am. This would be if they can sort the whole gambling loot box thing out, then people can maybe consider prying their wallets open again and get themselves, for example, a Massachusetts for Chris. Oh wait, hang on, that's not available. They could get themselves a Georgia. Oh wait, hang on, that one's not available.
I'm calling it now. Lenin and Missouri Black. I'm calling it right now.
No.
Yeah, seriously.
No.
Seriously.
Oh,
I'm calling it. I'm calling it.
That's
okay. You want to make a bet for it?
No, because you're almost certainly right. Oh goodness me.
But no, seriously, I'm loving the secondaries.
Yeah,
it's.
I mean, I did make the joke, and I think it's worth bringing up here that 10.7 patch was there wasn't much content in there. There wasn't much buzz about it, but at least secondaries are fixed again.
Yes,
that's was the patch of the secondaries. But yeah, so hopefully some of these glorious ships will be available again for people. But I think the first thing that needs to happen, it's up to everybody to make their own decision. But the topics we talked about prior to that, they've certainly sealed my wallet for a while.
Yeah.
Most notably the game rating thing. I think if they can bring that into line with something I feel is palatable, acceptable, then we can talk. And then they need to bring back ships that people want, and stop saying it's too popular. No, it's popular because it works and it's fun. Like the Massachusetts is pound for pound the best brawler and the best secondary ship in the game. So if you want people to play the Monarch more, here's a clue: make the Monarch better.
Yeah, exactly. And I know, like as a CC, I'm not supposed to sit here and promote other competitors of wargaming if I talk about wargaming and so on. But in that, I kind of want to talk a bit about how Gaijin do things in War Thunder. Whereas you see something be really popular and do well. Yeah, then they make a what is called a battle rating adjustment.
Okay.
A very good example of this is a tank that was 4.7 battle rating. It's the German KV-1C Premium.
Right.
Really, really did well at that battle rating. Like they're unless you knew how to strike it, if you came up against it with the wrong tanks, then you were pretty much doomed. Like you could sit there and have fun, but not an overly, like, it's not OP in the sense, like you could deal with it and you could get around it and such. So it's not a Panzer 3J or whatever it's called, the insane one from World of Tanks.
Right.
But that one was now suddenly adjusted up to 5.0, where guns and such behave a slight bit different, have a bit more pen. You're able to deal with it in a different way. So just by making that slight adjustment to what vehicles it meets, it's suddenly not as insane. So I wish Wargaming had something similar, because instead of removing it from sale, like the KV-1C, still for sale, but Gaijin are now seeing, okay, it's performing, it's not performing as insanely over the top, and it's not as in stupendously cheap and pound for
so it's
pound.
not like buy
massive.
this or you're losing.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. But it's they're making minor changes that still allow you to be within a good matchmaking. But yeah, it's enough to make a difference in how you need to worry about it if you get fully up tiered or whatever. So
perfect. Okay.
So I would love to see something similar from Wargaming.
Yeah, that's good. So there's just two easy let's really help them out, since they've had like a really hard press month and been struggling in that. Let's make sure there's no miscommunication. I'll give them two clear examples. Let's put the Giulio Cesare, right, up to tier 6, right, and then obviously the Massachusetts. I'm not biased at all. This is the most. I think the Massachusetts would be better at tier 5.
You think?
No, don't change any of her stats. Just put her at tier 5.
Yeah, okay. The Massachusetts is a tier 5.
In place of the Giulio Cesare, and then I think we're golden. I think we're good to go.
Yeah, no, that sounds much like having Holland at a tier 3 game.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Okay.
You know what? We could probably set up some custom games and have fun with that. Honestly, it could probably be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wargaming, do better, please.
Exactly.
Speaking of doing better, that is our
nicely
smooth segue over to the next topic, which is a very important topic, I feel. This upcoming 1st of September, which will be the day after this episode releases, hopefully most people will hear this on release, there's going to be a lot of content creators on Twitch that are not going to be streaming because of the hashtag Twitch do better. This has to do with Twitch not protecting their content creators in very specific form. We're talking about people of color and people from the LGBTQ plus community that have been experiencing what has been called hate raids. Hate raids with bots that flood your channel with racist, sexist, and so on remarks. And there's no easy way of protecting yourself if you are unaware of what's coming.
Yeah.
And honestly, this should not be a thing. This should not be a possibility. This is coming because there are some creative souls out there, of course, that find a way around systems and using it for evil, where the raid in itself is not a bad thing. Like being raided is supposed to be a good thing. and before we talk more about what Twitch can do, I want to highlight what a streamer can do to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a few things. If you have the Stream Deck, this is fairly easy, but there are other ways you can macro the same functions. But what you want to do if there is a hate raid coming in, very quickly set the stream into emote only mode and clear your chat. And lastly, have a way of turning off sound notifications or anything. Like, turn to a scene that has no notifications, nothing going on, like no follower graphic, nothing like that. Maybe just a camera view, or a nice like a nice picture of a puppy, whatever. And then turn these things on. So emote chat, sub only mode, and maybe even unique chat on, which is a function you have on Twitch where no two messages can be the same within X amount of time. So please, if you're listening to this and you want more tips on this, feel free to reach out, and I'll try to help you set up something where you can protect yourself. But if you have a Stream Deck, it's fairly straightforward. I'll help you with that. If you don't have it, we can find other sources. So just please reach out, and I'll try to help you out as best as I can. This is something that I burn for. I want people to feel safe on Twitch. I want them to have a good time, and which is also why I won't be streaming on September 1st. Sorry, Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, as we are recording. I'll instead be doing something on Discord. Anyway, that's enough about me. Hate raids.
Yep.
What can Twitch do?
Well, I think it's as you said. I think there's the complex technical side of it. I think one of the things that I would like to see is pretty much following immediately to what you've just stated. Is they could make clearer communication and like FAQ articles, frequently asked questions. There is something on there, but not a lot. I think that they're usually they seem to be quite slow to adapt and get information out there. So getting information out there, that I think that's why it's so good that Tiger summarized what you can do. One thing I would add is a lot of those things like email only chat and some of the quick responses. Yes, you can set them up to buttons, macros, but they're also some of them are just very simple / commands in your chat. Yeah. So for you yourself or a moderator can often do this. Just go into your chat at any point offline and inform yourself, just educate yourself, just put a / into your chat and see what the list of commands there are. You're looking for email only, maybe sub only chat, that kind of thing, follower only and unique chat. Just go and look up these commands, Google it if you need to, or look on YouTube. It'll be pretty easy. So learn about it and just be prepared. Maybe just, put it on a sticky note or somewhere on your screen or whatever. If it happens, then you're not in a panic at that moment. You say, okay, this is horrible. It's happening. I just type this command, and then I'm a little safer. I clear my chat down, and then if need be, end your stream, report the people, do what you need to do to get through that situation.
Yeah.
But I think that as far as I saw, I was looking through various things like the community guidelines and the FAQs today, and I didn't see anything that clearly stated do this and this to protect yourself.
No, so, there's been nothing from Twitch.
Yeah,
regarding this.
I'm incredibly disappointed by that. Really, there's not been any tweets about it or anything. So, and so therefore, this movement started by the streamer community themselves and their supporters to do this kind of hashtag do Twitch do better, and then now this a day off Twitch. I do also support that. I don't stream on Wednesdays, so it's easy for me to say, just coincidence. But there's a 50-50 split, and I wouldn't have again a complaint at anybody if they did choose to, because that's their livelihood and all the rest of it, right? I think it's good. So everybody makes their individual choice, and those showing solidarity, cool. It doesn't mean that the ones who are streaming are bad people who are not showing the solidarity either. But yeah, I think that Twitch do better is very pertinent here, because they really need to do better at being more transparent and providing guidance and support of these, in these situations. In terms of the technology, I did see that they've made some adaptations, although they don't go into detail, but that's probably also because if they publish detail, then the counteraction can come quicker. But they did state somewhat vaguely that they've made some adaptations to their word blocking rules and their recognition in the auto mods and things.
Good.
Yeah, so that is a good thing. So they're doing things. They should just communicate. Ironically, as a sort of entertainment and communication industry kind of company, they should do better at communicating what they're doing to support people and how they're reaching out and helping people where they can. They'll never get it 100% right, and people will always find like holes in it or whatever. But I think they definitely need to step up and say, okay, we acknowledge this is definitely happening. We're investigating a number of cases. We can't comment on it for security reasons and legal reasons, but please rest assured we're doing what we can, and this is like roughly our roadmap in some sort of high-level form or whatever. I think that would be most welcome by everybody, and it's one of the things that's got people feeling very vulnerable and a little bit, more than a little bit frustrated with the platform that they're not.
Yeah. Speaking from a purely technical side of things, there's a couple of things I wish I could see. For those who do not know, there is a slight pause you can add to your channel that allows moderators to see a message for X amount of seconds before it actually gets published.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that extended, because the max is 6 seconds. That's not necessarily a whole lot of period of time to do anything. I would love to see that extended to 10 seconds. A 10-second difference won't mean much in the way of interactivity and the ability to respond and have an active conversation. But it will give a tiny bit more time for moderators to get, shit, here we have this happening, hit the panic buttons. Let's do a full shutdown. Because it needs to be there. It needs to be a possibility of doing that. Another thing I'm thinking of is purely as a former network man, the ability to scan data going. There's a couple of boxes out there from Palo Alto that do an amazing amount of job, where you can scan everything that goes through there, like even encrypted data. Now, knowing just how much data goes through there, and that over 60% of everything that gets transmitted on the internet is encrypted data, and knowing how much active data goes through Twitch, I don't think they can catch everything, but I would love to see something like that used in this case. Because if you're able to see the data stream before it gets applied, you can then start saying, okay, this is supposed to go away, this is supposed to go away, this is supposed to go away, and just keep it away. And I think most streamers that are in a position where you could be hate rated, well, hell, all streamers are in a position where you could be hate rated.
Yeah.
Even the World of Warships channel saw that happen with a certain N-word slur being reposted, but with a hash, like a rolling hash, so a unique mode wouldn't have helped either. and and I'm thinking, okay, if the data stream can see that and gives you, let's say, 30 seconds more to work with before something applies, you can shut them down. You can get rid of them. And I don't know how that is probably not going to be even feasible. Even for a company like Amazon, like we're talking, I don't know how many megabytes per second, but it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot.
I think there's the one is the logistical challenge of the amount of data to process, and I think there's also obviously all the privacy and what kind of data concerns too. So I think they would struggle to do that, but I would think that would be another thing where maybe they're looking into it. They probably are. So we could have a rough high level statement about, these are some of the things we're considering and looking at, but there are, legal and compliance complications with that kind of thing, or technical limitations, whatever, right? So I agree with you. I think that, who knows what they're actually doing anyway in the background, to be honest, in the data centers. I think that it's funny you mentioned the latency thing, because I've specifically gone for like low latency. I don't know if that's the same thing, but I want that direct. I want the interaction to be as quick and happening as quick as possible. For me, I really don't like those streams where there's like that quite long delay. But I guess you're talking about more specifically things that the mods, the auto mod tools or whatever, catch rather than just all the chat. Yeah, I think the people need to understand that it's complicated. I hope sincerely that we're talking about a really, really minuscule number, a vast minority of people who are out there doing these kind of things, because some of the I hope that it's relatively complicated and or not many people who actually go to this level of effort to be horrible to fellow humanoids. But that's internet life, right? So we need the company to step up and make it more transparent what they're doing. They need to be more vocal about supporting people affected, not talking about blah blah blah, this is all bad. Of course, that's all part of it, but I want to hear more about, well, this is what we're doing to help. We're offering support to people, we're helping to compensate for maybe they can do some lost revenue if people have been badly affected by this and are put off streaming for the time. It'd be nice to hear like some slightly good news stories coming out of this as part of the response. I want to see Twitch picking up affected communities and affected streamers and obviously their viewership, and helping them to get over it and recover and be stronger than before, and maybe offering them tech support, maybe helping go through, having their support teams go through various settings and things that people can use to protect themselves, because a lot of people will be bamboozled. The defaults on Twitch are pretty good, but they can also be confusing, and initially the bots are also they clamp down on all sorts of things you don't want. So you tend to, as a streamer, once you get a little bit familiar over the first few months, you tend to start easing a lot of those controls back, because you want people to be able to express themselves and use language that isn't inadvertently captured or whatever by a lot of these things. So and a lot of people, just as a knee-jerk reaction, they'll be like, oh god, this bot's really annoying, it's stopping, oh sorry about this, I'll turn it off, and then boom, you've opened yourself up, right? So yeah. There is stuff about this in the community guidelines about how to deal with sort of harassment and hate chat and stuff like that, including using mods, including having moderator teams. But I think that having, as far as I could tell, between the partner agreement, the terms of service statements, and the community guidelines, I found exactly one article or one part, that paragraph that really goes into this topic at all. And it's all about, well, make sure you've got your mods turned on, make sure you've got moderators, make sure you're making a good faith effort to kind of block all these things, and you should be reasonably covered, that kind of thing. I think that they need to go a little bit further than that, because it's a huge multi-million, if not billion-dollar, company and platform part of the industry. You can do a little bit better than that. So I think the hashtag Twitch do better is reasonable in this case.
Speaking of multi-million-dollar company, there's a certain other company that has been strongly affiliated with Twitch for a long time and streamers. It's SteamLabs. Both through SteamLabs OBS, which a lot of streamers use, and through merch stores and alerts and everything that they have. They have recently introduced monthly tipping. And I think that is as a direct response to the change in where sub revenue comes from. I stopped by a good friend of both our communities today, Just Chegg. Please go check him out if you haven't. A very good guy. He brought up something I haven't even thought about, and I really want to have him as a guest on a podcast someday, where we can talk more about this. Is this a precursor to SteamLabs starting up their own service? Because I sat here and I thought, okay, if people want to use that, I'm not going to stop them, but I also want to have some sort of incentive, something I can give to those that do this. In the same way that subscribing gives you, it gives you emotes, it gives you certain rights on the channel, and if you've tied it to the Discord, then it could give you certain rights there too. But this monthly tipping, what is the incentive for people to use it? It's a very large incentive for a streamer to use it, because 100% of the tip goes to the streamer instead of 50%, which is the sub, and there's also already a pre-tax on bits, because 100 bits does not cost you $1, and it costs you a bit more. So the incentive for the streamer is, of course, to get people to use that because they get more revenue. But where is the incentive for the viewer? Because what's your thought here? Because I really think that it should give something. Like, giving something to a streamer should give you something back.
Yeah. So as I understand it, so this is pretty fresh off the press stuff. It's only come through in the last few days. From what I've seen on my StreamLabs page, it's hints at being a sort of a congratulations, you're part of the early access to this thing. I don't know how they've selected, or whether that's just like everyone gets that. I don't know. But anyway, so but what I've understood so far is, whilst it's not integrated to the platform the way subscribing on Twitch is, therefore there's no direct rewards on the platform, such as emotes or similar. What you get, let's call it a psychological aspect, that you're able to be sure that all of the money that you're putting in, with the exception of processing fees, for example, whatever it is, the 50 cents or less from PayPal, and a small percentage or whatever, that kind of thing. But almost all of the money goes through to the streamer. So if your intent is to support the streamer, the content creator, then in theory there's no better place to do it, because you make sure that all of that is going to them. There is the it's not a major thing, but I think it's, well, let's rephrase that. I think it's an important thing. It's not a reward that you can repeatedly use or frequently use. No, that's the wrong word as well. You won't see this often, but on a monthly basis, you get to choose when your alert comes in that your tip, aka subscription via another means, has come through. So, and this is linked into alerts and things that pop up in chat and pop up on the screen. So there's recognition of your support. I think that's an important aspect, because we have that for all the other subscriptions and things that go through the chat. And most of us use that for our streamers to then do our own personal recognition and thank you. So I think having that, and having that linked to maybe some stylized, I don't know exactly how it looks, but like overlay stuff and things that might pop up, and at least they'll have the person's name and all that kind of thing. So you could have maybe some different levels of subscriber alerts and things and they can choose the time. So if they're like, well, look, I'm only ever around on a weekend or whatever. I don't know exactly all the variables, but you could pick it for a time when you're highly likely to be present. Therefore, you get your recognition, your shout out for the support there. So there's that aspect of it. Whether that will lead to further integrations over time, or maybe some streamers will get creative with different alerts or offer them different. You could think of things like saying, well, you're a 6 months tipper, so therefore you're going to get your own soundbite, or you're going to get an overlay image. Like when you get a torpedo hit in War Thunder Naval or some game that we play. You get this thing that comes up because you've been tipping for this long, that kind of thing. So I think it's down to the streamer to get a bit creative with this at this stage. But what it clearly is I don't know if it's a precursor to them offering a platform competitor. That would be very interesting. But I think it could be, if nothing else, they're pretty clever, SteamLabs, and with coming up with iterations and things that tie into their services. So they might be like, I don't, this isn't part of it now, but I could imagine in the future they might develop things like, getting you percentages off, merchandising bought through SteamLabs or whatever. That's not what it does right now, but that might be where they could take this going forward.
Definitely.
What they've made the clear statement that this isn't in its current form. They don't take any slice themselves. That's very kind of almost surprising. But yes, very interesting, and I guess that helps to build it up and make it a real thing and get it into the limelight. And what was the other point? It's just gone out of my head. Yeah, so I think it's got a lot of potential. I think it's very exciting. One thing that occurred to me is, apart from the obvious point that it'll irritate Twitch, because Twitch will be like, hey, so trying to cut in on our sub revenue.
Yeah.
Right. The two things that could come out of this would be, one, it might be an opportunity for people to say, hey, Twitch sub costs have gone down. So it's costing me less, which also affects my streamers of choice negatively. So what I could do is I could supplement with a monthly tip the difference to help people, let's say for the next 3 months, and let's help you get over this initial phase. I really like your content. You give me a lot of entertainment. I know I don't get extra badges or anything for this, but I get this. It's not costing me more than it was costing me 2 or 3 months ago to sub to you, and I really, appreciate you and whatever. So here you go, right? So that's one thing that can happen, and the other thing that could happen would be it might force Twitch to reevaluate the 50-50 split. That's probably a bit of a fairy tale, but it's possible. And they might say, well, because there's a lot of people, and they'll be like, well, it's cool with this new pricing and everything, but how about you just made it like a 70-30 split, since we're kind of doing the work?
That's something that I've seen a lot of people talk about in regards to this, and to anything going on with Twitch, where they see Twitch do better, and I'm like, but let's not forget they are actually providing the platform, and it's a pretty good platform. Let's not lie. It is a well thought through platform. It has its faults, by all means.
I agree,
but it is so fully well done, and the technical aspects of it, the fact that they are not having more large-scale technical issues is mind-boggling to me.
Yep.
And I think only the people that have worked within IT or within a certain business that has this sort of scale will understand the magnitude of importance of the fact that we are not seeing large scale problems more often on Twitch.
Yeah,
that goes to show how well they have done things. But
I agree.
But they are already sitting on a massive amount of revenue. And if they were to provide more tools for, let's say, streamers to integrate sale of merch through Twitch instead of through different platforms like SteamLabs and so on and so forth, they could lower the amount of money on subs, but still give more of it to the streamer.
Yep.
Like you say, as a partner, both me and any other partner out there, unless they've renegotiated that, we have a 50-50 on tier 1, it's a 60-40 on tier 2, and a 70-30 on tier 3. I honestly think that a 70-30 is fair for all of these. Let's use a tier 2 as an example because it makes the math easier for me. $10 it used to be. It can be different elsewhere, but it's still $10 in the US and wherever it was $10.
Yeah, just keep it simple. Yeah.
Yeah. Meaning, per now, we get $6 of that, and $4 goes to Twitch. As opposed to with a tier 1, where $2.50 go to the streamer, and $2.50 goes to Twitch. I'm like, hold on. If you're okay with $2.50 of a tier 1, why are you not okay with $2.50 of a tier 2? What's the difference? What is the difference for you? There is no reason why they should take more of that. So, I mean, if they go for a flat rate, I think that would be better, because that way you know, okay, I've had 300 subs. That means out of those 300 subs, X amount of dollars goes to Twitch. Let's say $1 per, whatever. And it's $300 goes to Twitch. That's a lot of money. $300 is a lot of money. So, I don't know. It's such a weird subject too, because there's two parts to me in this. And I think you have the same sort of idea, and I thought about this earlier. There's streamer me, the streamer that does this for a living, that does this because content creation is fun, and I have a job. But then there's Tiger me, which would love to do this for free.
Yep.
So anytime we touch on anything that has to do with the economy, I kind of have to separate myself from being me and instead being the streamer. And that's always a touchy subject too, because people...
Well, yeah, exactly. And anytime you bring money into a conversation, it always muddies the water ridiculously.
Does.
But the simplistic aspect of it is, I think there's the way things scale, and the fact that it's not new, and like you said, they're doing a fantastic job overall. And I love this platform, and it really upsets me sometimes, or when I see and hear the people who are like, either they're still making their living through it, or they built themselves up from it and then they move to another platform. Those ones are always interesting. Now it's like Twitch bashing every 2 minutes. It's like, well, just because you weren't happy with it. They often have very good points and very good insights, but I don't like the whole, well, let's just bash things just for the sake of bashing things, or because bad news sells, that kind of thing. But again, people will do, it's all coming down to statistics, right? But I think that I think it's still a fantastic platform and a fantastic space. I found it really late in my life, but I'm glad I did. And we just ultimately were passionate about wanting to be better. I think that they can do better in this case as well. I don't think it's that difficult, although it's difficult to have those business decisions with all these very rich, probably, people that probably have incredibly expensive hobbies, like flying into space for 11 minutes. Is that too specific? Anyway,
I don't know.
so all these things have to be funded and that. But I think you're right. If we link the topics together a little bit about the tool set, about support available, I think they can do better on the one hand, and they'll be like, oh, that costs money, it's got to be developed. It's like, yes, but this all scales, and they know it all too well.
Oh yeah.
Is that they could easily go for a straightforward 70-30, that's just for simplicity's sake, yeah, whatever, across the board, and give everybody a big a bit of a boost there. The reality is most people rely on not only the regulars subbing, but a lot on gift subs. The vast majority of subs that come in for pretty much all streamers are tier ones, so let's have that be a place where streamers can really get the most benefit, because that's where the most opportunity is for them. And ultimately, I suppose this goes a little bit too philosophical, but like you said about doing it for free, I think we can all make the world and the interweb a better place together if you can bring more diversity and more inclusivity into it. And some of the way to do that is to marginalize less people by making it more viable. If not as a full-time streamer, at least as a part-time, as a supplemental sort of income route or whatever. And the way to do that is to greater or lesser extent is to open up more of the revenue to go towards the content creators who are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into providing entertainment via the platform. Again, without being unfair or disrespectful of what the platform does and what it is. Yeah, without the platform, we're not doing anything. So, I mean, what are we going to do? Stream on Facebook?
I think one of the things we need is either a big contender on the streaming market, or I don't know. Like we need something to happen. But I don't think it's going to happen through SubTember. Tell you that much.
Nice segue.
Thank you. So for those of you who are streamers, you've probably got the email about this. For those who are not, for the last 5 years, Twitch has done what they've called SubTember. And do you actually have the email? Because I only have the link to the article. But I kind of want to read the email, but oh no, never mind. I have it here.
Okay.
5 years ago, we introduced SubTember as a way to celebrate Twitch streamers and their communities who support them with special savings on subs. So, whether you're subbing or gifting for the first or the 100th time, thank you for being part of this incredible journey over the years. This year, SubTember is back. Delivered by Grubhub. They always have some sort of partner that they team up with. I think it was it Subway last year, or was that 2 years ago? I can't remember.
I don't remember. I don't know.
But yeah, delivered by Grubhub with more great deals to help community get into SubTember spirit and support your favorite creators on Twitch. Support your favorite creators with 20% off new monthly subs and gifts. Okay. Here's the important part. It's only for new subs and only for the first month. I want to make this very, very, very clear. It's not for all subs. It's for Why? Why not just go out and say, hey, you know what? This is on us. All sorts of gifts and such. This is on us. We take a 20% less cut in it, and the streamers get more. Come on, Amazon.
Yeah.
Do better. Fuck's sake.
Yeah. If only they were backed by one of the biggest internet businesses, if not the biggest in the entire planet. Damn it.
So, now about the deals. Let's talk about this. Beginning September 2nd. It's not even from the 1st September.
I wonder why that would be.
Beginning from that, all viewers across the world can save 20% on new monthly subs and 20% off gift subs all month long. And this year, there's no limit to the number of channels you can subscribe to with this offer. I wonder why they made that change. Maybe you want to support a favorite streamer with a new monthly sub to their channel, or finally start that monthly sub to a channel or you've recently discovered. Or go ahead and pay it forward with limitless gift subs. The choice is yours. And the best part? Creators will still receive their share of full price subscriptions, but you get the savings. I mean, do they though? In addition to supporting streamers and the content you tune in for, when you subscribe, you'll also unlock custom emotes, ad-free viewing when enabled by the creator, sub-only chat when enabled by the creator, subscriber badges, and channel points multiplier. Head on over to your favorite channels to see all the ways subbing supports the creators. Blah 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 blah. And as per usual, they also have like a 20% off for in the Loot Cave, which is it's a merch shop where you can grab Twitch merch. Grubhub delivers more September magic. Grubhub is helping to make this year's September savings possible, and they also make it possible for the US Twitch users to order from all their favorite restaurants. Plus, as a special offer, US Twitch users can sign up here for a 90-day free. So, it's not even a global thing. And I get that it's hard to get a global company on board, but come on. It's like they're ignoring the fact that they are a global company right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, if only they were a global platform.
Yeah. SubTember plus local pricing equals even better deals. Yeah, we're going to have a long chat about that at some point, but not right now. Reach new levels with creator goals this September. Creator goals is a new feature that helps creators set, track, and reach goals with their communities this September. Find info how to set it up here. And then there's a large terms and conditions that say discounts apply only to the first month of new recurring paid subscription, gift subscriptions, or conversion of gift subscription to paid subscriptions. Not applicable to existing recurring subscriptions. Subscriptions canceled in September, multi-month subscription, Prime, or gift subscriptions that are not being converted or paid, or new custom subscriptions. Offer not available on Twitch mobile apps. Cannot be combined with other offers. Blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. Do go check out more info on that.
Make sure you inform yourselves, folks.
Yeah. They mentioned goals. Do you have something to say about September, or?
Well, not really, other than it'd be awesome to get the extra support. But as Tiger said, make sure you've read up on it. It's boring, but read the blurb.
Yeah.
And make sure you understand what you're getting into.
I'll make sure to include the link to the article.
There you go. Wonderful. Yeah. But yes, speaking of goals, new Twitch feature.
Yeah. Carry on, my wayward son. Talk to me about it.
Yeah. So basically they've decided to release this new feature called Twitch Goals. It's accessible for streamers in their chat. /goal. So again, learn about your / commands. And it allows you to, as I understand it, it's brand new. So as I understand it, to set a goal for subscriptions, or followers. There is, I think, a custom option for another goal, but I haven't looked into that yet. And you can, similar to what you can already do with StreamLabs or Stream Elements, where you can set goals on there that link to your channel and use them in the overlays. You can add an overlay based on the Twitch coloring and stuff, although I understand you can't really customize it very much, so there's that. But what the other services can't do, because they're not directly the platform themselves, is the Twitch goals will also pop up similar to hype train text or polls, things like that. They will pop up at the top of your chat. box in your browser window, and therefore people that are joining your chat, just arriving or whatever, will get this popping up as they arrive, similar that they would do if they came in when a poll or a train was running. They will get this this little, perhaps more discreet and more appropriate kind of pointer to whatever goal you've set up. So overlay goals are very much a taste and kind of getting a feel for the community and streamers' choice, whether they want to publicize that. I see a lot of people that do it. I see a lot of people that don't do it. And it's completely neutral on it. It's sometimes it's helpful because it gives people a visual aid to make them think, oh yeah, okay, let's help this person out because they're really cool and I'm liking the entertainment, the content they're doing or whatever. And other people might find it sort of, a bit too much, a bit like, begging or whatever, But again, I'm completely neutral on it either way. Sometimes we have these goals up on my channel, sometimes I don't. Yeah. So that's what this goals thing is all about. I think that the nice subtle thing of having it in the chat at the top there, I haven't looked at what it looks like yet in reality, but I think that's maybe a nice place to put it, because then people just glance at it and maybe they make a decision on that basis. Maybe they don't. At least they know.
So, I'm looking at the article regarding goals right now. And it seems like a very nice integration, and it's a good idea. But I've never been a fan of things staying on top of chat. Like the hype trains and everything like that. It all bunches up together with the notifications of that you have new loot that you can claim if there's drops on a channel. If there's a vote going, like all of that, it stacks on top of each other. What I'd like to see is something where, like, I see it in the first screenshot here. Is where it looks like it looks like like an overlay, but it also looks like it's collapsible. So you can collapse it, and it kind of just stays there with this little tiny reminder or whatever. And I'd love to see that for all of the other things too. Contributing to a goal, viewing a goal is the easy way to see the impact your support can have on the creator. To find out whether a channel has an active goal, either look for an overlay on the streamers or click the subscribe button on the channel page. How do I start a goal? How do viewers see my goal? Can I pause a goal? Blah 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 blah. Here's one thing I found. Viewer FAQ. Can I opt out of seeing goals in chat? What do you think they've said?
Big fat no.
Yep. No, we do not support viewer opt out of goals in chat. Goals are shared, real-time experiences that support the creator. If you're finding issues with current experiences, please report them. This is exactly what I mean. Some of these texts and some of these things can be insanely disruptive for the viewing experience. And I just make them be like make them just chill, just have them be something you can pop out if need be, not have it always be in your face. Because not everybody has the space to have a 27-inch where you can have a lot of room on your screen for things and watching chat, but sometimes it's on a mobile phone or it's on a very tiny screen, and you want to be able to see mainly just chat and gameplay. Don't have a lot of stuff that goes on top of over this. Please let us be able to just minimize it and have it as a floating widget or whatever.
You know what I would say to that? It's half joking and half serious. Let the streamers, let the content creators screw up their own overlays. You don't have to do it for us.
Yes, please.
I've seen a few recently where I've been like, what? Like, I get everyone makes mistakes, right? But I've seen a couple recently. I'm like, what are you doing with your overlay? What? You can't see half the content of the game you're playing. Like, and then the worst thing is when you're on a site like that and you're like, I'm quite enjoying this, but man, this overlays drive me nuts, right?
Yeah.
And then the best thing is when you've got then additional, extensions or whatever on top. They did one for New World recently,
Yeah.
where you could. It was really unclear. Somehow you could click on a thing on the overlay, and you were collecting resources that somehow contributed to helping the team or the faction or whatever do better, right? But it was a really neat idea, but it dominated the screen, and you kept having these like a little tile of wood pop up on the lower left side. You're like, well,
Yeah.
I've got to click that away. And like, yeah, it helped, but actually I just cleared the screen up so I could see what was going on again, right? And then like a little pile of iron would appear in the top right, and you're like, no! Now you're making me wear out my mouse. I'm getting an RSI from clearing down this overlay while I'm trying to just chill and lurk and watch some content. So the first thing I do with most of those overlays is I look for the how do I disable seeing this overlay button.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just here to watch. It's that thing.
Yeah. But anyway, it's interesting. I find it really interesting when we contrast that with like SteamLabs sneaking into the whole tip stroke subscription area, and then Twitch's response is, oh, you're going to cut into our revenue stream? Well, look at this. We're going to take away the annoying overlays that you make available for people and make our own. And we're going to screw up our content creators chat so that you take that. And StreamLabs are probably sitting there going, yeah, okay. That's a fair trade. We'll take the money.
Fair enough. We will continue making our service better, and you will continue making yours worse. Congratulations. Yeah, done. Ron. Yep. I don't know, man. Let's
be interesting to see where it goes. I like that they're bringing new features. Again, so Tiger, ask me how I found out about this, that I have this new feature.
Pray tell, Grumbles, how did you find out that you had this new feature?
Well, I was managing my stream by going and manually using / commands to help defend myself, having educated myself with no help from the platform about how to potentially deal with hate raids and similar. And whilst I was doing that, I put / into my chat and something popped up saying, hey, there's a new feature called Twitch goals. You can click here to learn about it and do this. Set up your first goals. I haven't got an email from them. I also don't have I don't have an email from them about SubTember.
Oh, you don't?
Nothing. No.
Wow.
No. It's almost like I'm the forgotten partner. So there you go. I do have an email from Twitch in the German language, which I fortunately speak, inviting me to participate in a questionnaire for which they will give me a $5 Amazon what's the word I'm looking for? A voucher.
Okay.
So that's what I'm gonna be doing after the
Yeah, I don't have that one. Can I have that one? I want a $5 voucher. What the hell? Twitch, come on.
No, Twitch do better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I literally I have plenty of email. I have more emails from StreamLabs saying, hey, sell merchandising to us. Hey, monthly tips from us. I have more from sort of integrated pseudo competitors of the platform than I do from the actual company I'm partnered with.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Oh well.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's start thinking about bringing this around. We've been recording for almost 2 hours now, and we have a couple of more things to talk about. But I'm gonna hand the reins to you because you brought up a wonderful thing during our editorial meeting. Regarding the because we always try to have something role playing related. And I have a feeling I might have something to tack onto this, but the topic is simply giving story space to breathe. And what did you want to say to the people at home?
What did I want to say? Thank you. So with that long introduction, helping me to quickly forget what I was going to say. No, it's almost like you know me. So what I wanted to bring up was based on a couple of different experiences recently, mostly positive. A couple of things where there was like some frustration and whatnot. in some video game role playing experiences lately, but much more so connected with our Starfinder experience that we're doing with Shogalicious and the pathfinding adventure team, which has been an absolutely stunning experience so far. Sadly on hiatus. Also, he ate bananas until probably October, November time. But anyway, the topic is within role playing, giving both the story and the sort of the situations that in the quests and whatnot that you're on in various, whether it's video game or tabletop, a chance to kind of develop a little bit and to kind of think of that as both a player and or GM or DM, whatever you prefer. But also, very importantly, being very self-aware and aware of the other players at the table or in the scenes, if it's a video game context, with you, and thinking of it a little bit like a game of catch or something with the ball, where you have your story idea, you have where you want to take a certain thing, a certain thread, or even just a simple conversation in a scene, and it's and just being aware and considerate of how is everyone else kind of viewing that, how are they responding to it, are they understanding it, are they buying into it, are they not buying into it? So to use the sort of metaphor or whatever of the game of catch, you throw the ball out and sometimes it's a fragile thing and you're like, this is really cool, I've just had this great idea, it's going to be really funny, or I've wanted to do this for ages, and so we're going to run with this. But you have to accept that you have to release that ball, throw it to the other party, and it may or may not be caught and thrown back to you to continue with, or thrown further to progress to someone else, or it may not. And it's really hard sometimes when someone doesn't want to pick up that ball and go with it, whatever.
Yeah.
Because it kind of sucks, because you're like, oh, I thought this was like awesome. So yeah, that's kind of like the just.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me just slot in my language chip. Yeah. So yeah, and the really positive part of this was just how quickly our Starfinder group has gelled and got into the groove and really got this, and a lot of it is coming from this understanding and this common thread of having this awareness and knowing that as awesome as it can be to like come up with an idea and throw an idea out or improvise something or whatever, you've got to be aware and you've got to be conscious and listening and looking out for the prompts and things. And I think it helps that we're on Discord and we have the videos on so we can see each other's reactions and some of the facial expressions associated with what we're doing.
Yeah.
But just being mindful that it's kind of, people have to pick it up and run with it, and it's got to be fun for everyone. And if it isn't, well, you just kind of drop it or put it back in your pocket and think, well, I'll workshop that a little bit. Maybe something similar will come later, but not to force an idea on people. And I think that the Starfinder group's been a really excellent exhibit of that, because there's been pretty much everyone at some point has improvised or twisted something in a kind of comical or positive way for the story. And it's been really fun, and also working with the GM with Shogo, been really enjoyable to see how flexible he is. The level, considering as well with his sort of pain and concentration issues and things, the level of GM gymnastics that are on display there is quite phenomenal. So
he's had a few years of GMing.
Yeah.
Like he started playing in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So he has a few years.
Yeah.
He has a few years. But no, I sadly wasn't there with my character last Monday, but I was before that, and I think what I saw then was also something that lends itself to this, is like the idea and playing together with something, like, because we were selling whiskey to this fanatical group, and ideally, like, we could have not shown up there, just because we knew it was a bad idea, but then suddenly we're throwing pee bottles. And it's all because of that idea of playing, like, we have a saying in Norwegian, I don't know how to translate it, but å spille hverandre god, as in you play each other well, like you play each other good, like you lay up to each other, to others doing well. And I think one of the things that you and I played well off was, well, I brought the pee bottles, but I'm not going to be the only one throwing them. So you utilized them in a great fashion. I was like, yes, come on. Yes, this is awesome. I love this. And it was so much fun. And then it's like a prime example of throwing out a ball and then somebody going, ooh, I can play with this. I can do something with this. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's always so much fun when you see that. And sadly, sometimes you have to kind of go, okay, you know what? Kill your darlings. I this is not going to go anywhere. Even like, no matter how much in love you are with the idea, just kill your darlings and move on from it.
Yep.
It is sad, but hey, maybe you'll have the ability to bring it back at some other point.
Yep.
And
100%. Well, that was just what I wanted to get to, and I think it's awesome that you had the good example right there to go with it. So yeah, long may the biological weapon production last in our Starfinder. Hang on, we're probably going to get terms of service now. Anyway,
probably. Yeah, let me see.
Moving on.
Yeah, there's the terms of service on my ear right now. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. No.
Don't worry, Tiger. I didn't get the email, so.
Oh, you didn't. That's good.
I know.
That's
Thanks,
good.
Twitch.
Yeah.
Do better.
Yeah. Something to smile about. I want to quickly bring up something that made me smile recently. Okay. For almost a full year now, a friend of mine in Wales has had issues at her workplace where she is a PhD student. And as a result of that, she really had like a big crash.
Right.
And has been struggling and working hard towards getting out of that crash. She still isn't clear of that, and she has acknowledged that. She now sees this. Like her eyes are opening to this.
Right.
But as part of this journey of getting back to being herself and realizing who she is and getting there, she tweeted a picture of her refrigerator door, where she has all these colorful post-it notes with realistic but also positive reaffirmance. Like we're not talking toxic positivity, but we're talking a good sense of self, and to kind of help bring you out of those really deep, dark moments sometimes, where things she has on there is stuff like, I am the unicorn. And it's like, okay, it might not mean something to somebody else, but it means something to her, and it gives her something to clamp onto and go, okay, I am the unicorn. Great. Let's snap out. Let's get back on track.
Yeah.
And reminders to always be honest, always be humble. And these sorts of reminders for herself in that. And yeah, it made me smile to see that picture and knowing that herself and her own journey has been helped by that.
I remember the image, and it did make me smile immediately. I very much like things like that. Some positive reinforcement that is also sort of just self-aware and kind of like humble, if you will. You need that, and you need the, and it's a good thing to do, and I think it's also good when you share that with people and you allow yourself that bit of vulnerability, which is not always an easy thing to do either. No, I remember distinctly seeing that and thinking, okay, yes, this is can't remember. I think it was something like, "This is the fridge everyone should have in their life," or whatever it was I said. But yeah, that they had a meaningful impact, and yeah, it was able to bring smiles and an uplifting moment for me, and no doubt, hundreds of other people as well. So kudos to your friends for sharing it, and I hope, wish them well sincerely, and hope they can get through it. Sometimes, sharing is caring in that regard.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. Well, my something to smile about is a lot simpler, but sometimes it's the simple things in life, which is, I think, more or less the motto by which most of my followers and subscribers go by.
Yeah.
As to why they come back every month. And it was I was, because I was thinking before, like I've noted a few things, and I was like, I don't know. And then I remember I tweeted it out and shared it. I actually tweeted it. I think the tweet said something like, "I'm really shocked at vandalism that I experienced today on my daily walk." And then there's a picture of a couple of sunflowers growing out in the summer sun in the fields near where I go walking, and somebody had gone past, almost certainly like a family or whatever, and not like right away, like this is after several weeks of these flowers being there or whatever, and somebody had very carefully and considerately kind of carved or made actual smiley faces, various different ones, into, let's call it the face, the main flower of the sunflower. Just the big ones, not damaging the plants significantly, nothing that the bees or whatever hadn't already done. And I just thought it was just so awesome to just be walking along and then have this double take moment of like, because like sunflowers look cool anyway. I like sunflowers, right? Also, just Chegg, it's because they're on Team Mustard. Just to let Chegg know. Make sure you're still paying attention at this stage of the podcast. And then just to see someone who'd actually put actual smiley faces into these smiling, happy flowers was pretty impressive. Not least also because I'm walking along there, and here's the bit where people can make the dwarf jokes if they want, but like a lot of these sunflowers are like as tall as me or taller, and it's like, oh, nature's pretty cool sometimes. And then people can be cool as well. So yeah, that's my something to smile about.
That just goes to show it doesn't take a lot to spread a smile.
Nope. Exactly. And you know what? I wonder how many people go walking along those various trails and paths and things every day and see those, and they just get that little lift they need.
And they're going to share that story.
Yep.
Which almost definitely is going to bring a smile to somebody else, because suddenly they're standing there and they're seeing this person that they love and have an interaction with be happy because of this. And it's a good sort of ring effect out of it.
Yep. That's how to do it, folks.
Yeah, that's how simply we're gonna roll. Speaking of rolling, it's time to roll the end credits, my dear sir.
It reminds me of a terrible pun I did in Last Oasis.
Yeah.
In Last Oasis, there's a currency called flots.
Yeah.
And we all were going to go, we just set up our plans and our mission of where we were going to go next and what we were going to do. And we were all heading off to various different walkers to go off in formation together. And I shouted out, "Auto flots, roll out." Just wanted to share that at the end of the podcast.
You know,
so that Marion Garner gets an extra smile when she reaches this point.
You know, the worst part is? Because flot, meaning something good, something fine in Norwegian, I would probably have done something similar. So I'm not. There you go. I'm not judging. I'm not going to judge.
Pun bros.
But with that being said, with that being done, thank you so much, everybody, for listening to yet another podcast where podcasts can be found. If you've watched this on YouTube, thank you for watching this on YouTube. Please feel free to leave a comment, join our Discords, and leave feedback there on questions you want us to answer, things you want us to talk about on the next one. guests you'd like us to see and talk to. But without further ado, I've been the Tiger. He's been the Grumbles. But we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.